The excuses, the victimization, the pleas for sympathy, it never ceases to amaze me. We touched on this a little bit last month when news of the arrest of Brittney Griner broke. In case you didn't know, WNBA player, and notice I didn't say WNBA star. There is no such thing as a star in the WNBA. There are approximately 136 players in the league. 99.5% of this country couldn't name one of them. My mom, for example, my mom is completely clueless when it comes to sports. She couldn't tell you the difference between Major League Soccer and Major League Baseball. Baseball, isn't that where they use that stick thingy to hit the ball? Is soccer the sport with the puck? I can never follow that thing on the ice. It's so confusing. As clueless as my mom is when it comes to sports, if I ask her who LeBron James is, she could tell me. He's that guy with the oversized head who's always denigrating police officers. I asked my mom about Drew Brees. She could tell me about him. Oh, Drew Brees is so precious. I like that he supports our military and stands for the national anthem, and his wife is just so beautiful. She can't tell you shit about what they accomplished on the court or on the field, but my mom, at least she knows who they are. She can tell you something about them. A while back, and I may have told you guys this story before, so if you've already heard it, you're going to hear it again. But a while back, I was talking to my mom on the phone. She called me about something, probably to tell me that I curse too much here on the channel. Somehow, in the conversation, the WNBA came up. I was probably working on a video about the WNBA when she called. She asked me what I was doing. I told her. As I explained to her what I was doing, my mom said, "What is the WNBA?" After I finished laughing, I told my mom that the WNBA is the Professional Basketball League for women. They've been around for over 25 years. She said, "They must not be very popular. I've never heard of them." Yeah, Mom, exactly my point. If the WNBA were not heavily subsidized by the NBA, if they weren't protected by this bubble, the league would have been shut down 15 or 20 years ago. Even with being subsidized, the WNBA loses on average $10 million every year. Now, you tell me another business in this country that survives over 25 years without ever making money. Every business has one objective: make money. It's as simple as that. If the business doesn't make money, or worse, if it consistently loses money, closing down is inevitable. In today's climate, the WNBA could lose $100 million every year. They still would not be shut down. Why? Because the WNBA represents one of the primary boner words for social justice warriors: equity. Oh, equity. Every time I hear the word equity, I want to invite my lonely friends over and participate in a circle jerk. The only time this league makes national news is for bullshit that happens off the court. The NBA regular season doesn't often generate national headlines, but once we get into the playoffs, the casual fan will start paying attention. The NBA will become a topic of conversation nationally. That ain't the case with the WNBA. The biggest story right now in the WNBA is the detainment of Brittney Griner over in Russia. Now, in case you didn't know, and I meant to tell you this at the beginning before I started rambling, but in case you didn't know, Brittney Griner was arrested last month in Russia. She had some vape pens that contained weed, or maybe it was hash. She's been detained by Russian authorities ever since. For the last 4, maybe 6 weeks, this has been the leading story in the WNBA. Did you guys know? Did you know that the WNBA draft was last night? The media has spent the last 2 months shoving women's basketball down your throat. Did you even know the WNBA draft was last night? The NFL draft, huge event. It is a weekend-long spectacle. NBA draft, big event on a Thursday night every July. WNBA draft, No one notices. The mainstream media has been using this Brittney Griner story to garner sympathy for WNBA players. They are using Brittney Griner to further their agenda when it comes to gender equity. And like everything else the mainstream media pushes, it's complete bullshit. Nneka Ogwumike was on Good Morning America this morning. She was interviewed by Robin Roberts. They weren't recapping the WNBA draft from last night. They weren't previewing the WNBA regular season, which is less than a month away. No. That would bore people to death. They were talking about the fact that Brittney Griner should have never been arrested in Russia because she shouldn't have been put in that position to begin with. You see, poor Brittney, poor Brittney. She is forced to play basketball overseas during the off season just to make ends meet. Oh, it's so terrible. I can't make it off my shitty WNBA salary. I have to go to Russia so I can afford the in vitro fertilization so my girlfriend can have my kid. There is an easier way for your girlfriend to get pregnant. It's called the old-fashioned way. Have her fuck a dude. The average salary in the WNBA is over $120,000 a year. Brittney Griner, $228,000 per year. The average American makes $51,000 a year. You know, my neighbors, they don't leave for Russia 6 months of the year to supplement their income. So I'm a bit confused here. How can the average American manage to survive off $51,000 every year, but Brittney Griner can't make it on $228,000? That doesn't sound like an income issue to me. That sounds like a spending problem. These entitled players in the WNBA, they believe they are stars. We should be paid millions. We deserve chartered airfare to games. We deserve to be treated like royalty. We deserve. As George Bush would say, I'm no economer, I'm not an accountant, I'm no financial guru, but I am a common sense thinker. I look at the financials of the WNBA, and the first thought that comes to my mind regarding the players, you don't even deserve this fucking job. You should be thankful you are given the money you're being given. Yes, I said given, not earned. WNBA players aren't earning this money. This league is a fucking charity. In order for them to earn money, they would have to generate profit, which is something the WNBA has never done. Nneka Ogwumike was on Good Morning America this morning, painting Brittney Griner as the ultimate victim. I want you to listen to this question from Robin Roberts and the answer that was given. This question is a prime example of how the media presents things to you to paint their narrative. Roll the film.
A lot in the public, they say, if this were an NBA star like Brittney, that it would be daily news. Do you think a gender issue is at play here?
I mean, when is it not? You know, you advocate for us in so many respects. You know, it's disappointing that the question of, you know, it being a gender issue is top of mind now when it comes to this type of circumstance. But the reality is, you know, she's over there because of a gender issue, pay inequity. I played in Russia for 4 years. I played in Poland for 1 year. I played in China for 2 years. We go over there to supplement our incomes.
First, let's start with the question. If this were an NBA player, this would be national news every day. Is this story not receiving national attention because it's a gender equity issue? My God, Robin Roberts, I know you're not this fucking stupid. Media coverage of this story has nothing to do with gender. If this were Britney Spears detained in Russia instead of Brittney Griner, it would lead the news every day. Venus Williams, every day. Danica Patrick, every day. The reason the majority of the country is ignoring this story, no one knows who the fuck Brittney Griner is. She's anonymous. She's unknown. It would be like your neighbor being detained in Russia. Would the rest of us give a fuck about that? No. Now let's get to the explanation that was given to Robin Roberts. Nneka Ogwumike is the president of the WNBA Players Association. She also participates in games with the LA Sparks, which is an interesting name for a WNBA team since this league hasn't generated one spark of interest in over 25 years. She claims that this is a gender issue, pay inequality. Again, this is not a gender issue. This is not an equality issue. This is an economic issue. It's quite simple to understand. Your league doesn't generate profit. The fucking WNBA, it might as well be a 501c3, a charity. At least that way, they wouldn't be required to pay taxes. Players in the WNBA have no leverage. These women are pushing for more money, higher salaries. You know where that money would come from? The NBA players, NBA owners, they would have to sacrifice their money, or should I say sacrifice more of their money for WNBA players to receive higher salaries. You know what that's called? Redistribution of wealth. Is the agenda starting to make sense now? Is it starting to make sense why social justice warriors and the mainstream media are pushing so hard for gender pay equality? These people want socialism. Social justice warriors, they want socialism because they're lazy as fuck and don't want to provide for themselves. The mainstream media wants socialism because it empowers them. It gives them a level of control. Socialism sounds real nice until you're the one affected by it, until you're the one paying for it. There is this misconception that rich people would fund it, but that ain't the case. The wealthy, they'll just hide their money elsewhere. You know who would be paying for it? You and me. The middle class always gets fucked in a socialist system. Matter of fact, the middle class gets completely eliminated. Under a socialist system, you have the rich and you have the poor. Those are your choices, and you don't really have a choice. Unless you're born with money, you will be poor. Nneka Ogwumike repeated the same tired narrative that WNBA players go overseas to supplement their income. We don't want to be doing this. Why should we have to keep 2 jobs just to pay off our Mercedes? Fuck what you want to do. There are millions of Americans working 2 jobs just to pay the fucking rent. You think they want to do that? No, they have to. It's either work 2 jobs or live under a bridge with nasty ass social justice warriors. For 2 years while I was building up this channel, I worked 45, 50 hours a week at a regular job, at a job I grew to hate. I put in 40, 50 hours there, another 20 hours a week on the channel, making 1 video per day, and another 25, 30 hours every week working the book. You think I wanted to do that? No, but I knew it was what I had to do to get where I wanted to be, which is the life I'm living right now. I'm living my dream. No one handed that to me. It wasn't given to me like the free salaries WNBA players are given. I had to go out and earn it, and it took me a long time to do it. For 18 months, I did this for free every day. Even once the channel was monetized, I was lucky to make $500 on a good month. I remember some months the revenue for the channel was so low, YouTube wouldn't even issue me a check for it. I had to bust my ass for credibility and respect. So I have absolutely zero respect for WNBA players. I don't doubt their dedication. I don't doubt their work ethic. I'm sure these women are dedicated and work hard. However, that does not mean you're entitled to a certain level of income. The entitlement is the reason I have zero respect for the WNBA. Anytime I talk about this dump of a league, I always get accused of hating women, holding a bias against women's sports, not giving the WNBA a chance. I don't personally have a problem with the WNBA. I don't have a problem with women being given an opportunity to play professional sports for a living. I have a problem when they think they're entitled to money they haven't earned and they want it to be given to them by the NBA. But time to give me your thoughts. A WNBA player in a leadership position once again victimizing Brittney Griner and complaining about gender pay equity. In other words, another entitled social justice warrior? Sound off in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe. Click the notification bell to receive all notifications from the channel. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, KC_BTL84 on Twitter. I'll see you guys tomorrow.